Kia ora guys, good afternoon, my name's Max, I'm the host of The Black Jersey and welcome back to the channel. A big thank you to all my patrons who support me over on Patreon, and a big thank you to everyone who's supporting me over on Instagram and Twitter. Righto guys, this is going to be a very controversial video. I'm talking about who my opinion is on who the All Blacks should be selecting in both the number 1 and the number 3 jerseys. Yes, I do think we've got a big issue with the tight 5 forwards in this country right now. Look guys, you can do a Sir John Koo and you can change the back line all that you want. The problem with the All Blacks right now is in the tight 5 forwards. At the centre of the controversy is the likes of Dane Coles, Joe Moody, Brodie Retallick, Carl Tuinukuafi and George Bower. So yeah guys, I am going to be chopping and changing the props in comparison to Ian Foster's quite a fair bit. And I also do want to apologise for past mistakes of mine where I have kind of let the sentiment and the value of the story of George Bower and Carl Tuinukuafi kind of cloud my judgment about their actual ability as professional athletes. I found that the stories about them were far too inspirational for me to actually critically think about how they are as players, so I want to apologise for letting the narratives disrupt my opinion on those two props. The props I think Ian Foster is likely to select in 2022 is probably going to be George Bower, Ethan de Groot as the specialist loose heads, Offa-Tu'ungafasi and Angus Ta'avao as the kind of guys who can cover both the 1 and the 3 jerseys, the versatile ones. And of course, as the specialist number 3s, I think he's going to persist with Nippo Laulala and Tyra Lomax. Boy, do I have some changes to make. You know me better than that though guys, I'm going to plead my case using the stats for the season. I will mention the season scrum percentages for each New Zealand based team as well, so that way we can kind of make our minds up on this thing based on the data and how much these players have impacted on their team. In my lineup, I would go with Ethan de Groot, Olly Norris and Tamworthy Williams as specialist loose head props. Do away with the old and turn to the next generation, a la the French right now. Then with the tight head props, I would continue with Offa-Tu'ungafasi and Angus Ta'avao, and then I would cap Jermaine Angel in place of Laulala and Tuinukuafi and Tyra Lomax. So yeah, there is some chopping and changing like I mentioned. The season scrum percentages for each team is also very close, so bear this in mind throughout this video. The Highlanders have won 92% of their scrums, Crusaders 93, Hurricanes 94, Chiefs 95 and Blues 96%. So the Highlanders have really needed de Groot and Ainsley to carry them, whereas other teams have a bit more depth in that scrum. So firstly, I will address Carl Tuinukuafi. He has played just 5 games this year, and as you can see, his stat chart isn't really the best, so I don't think Ian Foster will be considering him this year. Others will mention Alex Hodgman perhaps in the comments. Hodgman was tried and tested in 2020, but as a selector myself, I do think we'll have to look to younger talent. So we'll run through the stats for each individual player now, and we'll see what we can find out based on these. I want to start off with the loose head props, and we're going to see George Bower, who has played 11 games and 432 minutes this season. You'll expect to see this with a lot of the props. He hasn't scored a try. He's run just 93 metres, though he has beaten 3 defenders and made 1 clean break off 35 carries so far this season. As you can see, he's been made to pass a fair bit by the Crusaders coaches as well. They're getting a lot more passes off the forwards these days rather than the backs. And George Bower's made 57 out of 71 tackles for a tackle completion rate of 80%, whilst he's won 4 turnovers. So the stats aren't looking too bad for him, but stats don't tell the whole story in this particular case. I find that he's a bit similar to Brodie Retallick in the way he consists for rucks. in the end of year tests, especially for the All Blacks in 2021. As you can see from what I've got on screen, Brodie Retallick was the kind of player who was always competing for the rucks, trying to keep our ball when we had possession. When it was the opponents in possession, himself and the other tight five weren't really contesting those rucks all that much. I found Bower to be doing a similar thing very much for the Crusaders, and what's been happening with the Crusaders this year is mostly due to the lack of durability they now have up front. The backline is the best thing about the Crusaders today, and we're now going to talk about Tamworthy Williams because I've found that he's added a lot of impact every time he has come off that bench for the Crusaders. As you can see, he's only racked up 261 minutes this year off his 9 games. He has, though, showcased a pretty good running game. He's scored 2 tries, he's run 61 metres and beat 2 defenders off 17 carries, while he has also made 7 passes. He hasn't made any offloads like Bower, who made 1, but look, you don't really need forwards who pass. You need to keep things in the backs, and I think this World Cup that's upcoming is going to be one on who has the best kicking game. Williams has also won more turnovers than Bower. He's won 5 in comparison to Bower's 4. His tackle percentage, a little bit lower than Bower's, but I think that tackle percentage for Tamworthy Williams is something we almost have to take with a grain of salt, considering he's only attempted 23 whilst he's made 18 of them. So I don't think I'm going to pick apart that tackle percentage too much because he hasn't attempted a lot of them. We'll now move on to Olly Norris, who I think is going to be a contender that will replace Karl Tuinukuafi, whereas Williams will replace George Bower. Norris has played 8 games this year, and in total from those games he's played 378 minutes. I'll try to discuss him with a bit of impartiality since he's previously appeared on this channel as a guest. He's run 75 metres and beat 3 defenders off his 27 carries, so that's getting quite close to the amount of carries that Bower's made already. Norris has also made 13 passes and 1 offload. I'm not really too fussed about the ball handling of a prop as long as they can catch the gun ball though. His tackle percentage is quite high as well. As you can see, he's won 47 tackles out of his 52 attempts for a big ratio of 90% of tackling. He's also won 5 turnovers this year, so he's going to get you a bit more ball, unlike the likes of Tuinukuafi or Bower. Ethan de Groot's the next one we're going to talk about. I think Ethan de Groot was one of the breakout stars of 2021 and he deservedly got an All Black cap. I was very surprised Ian Foster caps de Groot. De Groot has played 10 games this year and 434 minutes of them. As you can expect, no tries for de Groot. He has run 54 metres and beaten 2 defenders off 21 carries, so his average metres per carry is not the highest, but what he makes up for with this is defence. 59 of his 62 tackle attempts have been successful, meaning his tackle percentage is 95%. You can never ignore a guy who is in form like that. You have got to pick him. Whilst he's also made 6 turnovers, so he's made the most turnovers of any of my candidates for loose head prop. Bower, of course, is the lowest with 4. And he also has the second to lowest tackle percentage. De Groot can pass as well too. He's made 22 passes and 1 offload. So Ethan de Groot, a massive season for him so far. I think he is probably the most improved player of this season. And guys, as I said, the solution to a bit of a conundrum is to turn to the next generation. We're now going over to the tight head props. Tyra Lomax, 9 games, 565 minutes played, 2 tries off that, whilst he's also run 45 metres and beat 1 defender from 21 carries. Not a very high meter running ratio per carry again with this one. The 2 tries can kind of mask that, but they were from just 1 game and they were just simple drives over the line from a meter out in this particular one in question. He has made 12 passes and 1 offload, whereas his tackle percentage has been 83% thanks to getting 59 of 69 tackles, whilst he's also won 1 turnover. So yeah, he's not going to win you a lot of ball, Tyra Lomax, and as shown by his attacking stats, is he really the kind of guy that's going to break the game open and get those loose forwards or those turnovers? No, you need a prop who's more mobile these days. That's the criteria that Fozzie himself has been looking for. We refer back to the scrum percentage as well, and the Hurricanes are smack bang in the middle. Probably not going to help his case there. We're now going to go over to Nippo Laulala. Yeah, guys, he's in pretty bad form. I think that he had a really, really good season in 2021, but from his 7 games this year, he has got a red card from one of them, which is always going to be a bit of a negative to me. So yeah, he's played 286 minutes so far this year. His running stats very, very low as well, just 24 meters and 2 defenders beaten from just 11 carries. That's just not a good enough work ethic to me, and you just have to work far harder to be an international level player. His tackle percentage is also the lowest of any prop I've mentioned on this list. It's 32 from 42, meaning it's 76%. Just 1 turnover as well. Those stats are really going to go against Laulala, and the fact that Tu'ungafasi is now starting for the Blues ahead of him means his international career could be potentially a bit threatened. Jermaine Angel is the player who I think will end up replacing him. Jermaine Angel, absolute man on fire for the Highlanders this year right now. The tight 5 forwards are pretty much carrying the Highlanders so far this season, and I tried not to suck up to him too much when I had a Q&A with him as well. That's in the description, like the Olly Norris one. But yes, as I said in that video there, probably one of the best performing props of the season. From his 10 games, he's got 596 minutes played. Obviously, props don't score a lot, but this guy's been running pretty hard, and he's probably the quickest prop in the competition right now. 84 meters and 1 defender beaten off 39 carries, so he's carrying so much for the Highlanders and really just keeping them in the game. I feel like they don't really want to take him off all too often because Saulama'u's inexperience means that the loss of Ainsley can be quite a big one when he comes off. Ainsley has made 15 passes and 2 offloads this season as well, whilst his tackle percentage is amazingly high, 74 from 82, 90%. He hasn't won any turnovers this year though, but right now with the tight head props, it's just looking like there's not really a real turnover option apart from Tu'ungafasi himself. Before we get to the man though, I think that Angus Ta'avao will be retained at Tyra Lomax's expense. I have said in the past, the guy's probably a bit too old to be a 4th choice prop, but with Moody gone, with Lomax not really demonstrating enough mobility to me, I think that Ta'avao is worth keeping around as a 3rd choice behind Ainsley and Tu'ungafasi for the sake of his mobility and his experience. From his 10 games this year, he's played 511 minutes, run 42 meters, beat 1 defender off 27 carries. While those don't really tell you much, what's impressed me more is his ruck speed. Though his meters run aren't a lot because he hasn't carried often, he's really making up for it with getting to the rucks quick, and that's something the All Blacks were really lacking last year. Look, I don't have stats for rucks hidden stuff, so you'll have to go off my word, but from the rest of my arguments, I'm sure you'll believe me on this one. His defense, very good as well, 51 from 57 tackles for 89%. That again is once again world class. 21 passes as well and 1 turnover, so yeah, a bit of a limitation for tight head props that are winning turnovers. Luckily we saw all those turnover stats from the loose head props. In 2022 though, Ofa Tu'ungafasi has returned with real streaks of form, and ever since Nippo Laulala's red card, he's really taken things in open arms. He's run 96 meters so far this season, beat 3 defenders, made 3 clean breaks, nearly unheard of for a prop. He's made 24 carries, 14 passes, 3 offloads, whilst his tackle percentage remains at 90, and he has made 4 turnovers. So he is, out of all these tight head props, the most complete player, so he will easily start in the number 3 jersey. So yes, just to recap this video, if I was an All Black selector, I would make a lot of changes, and Ofa Tu'ungafasi would be the only one of Ian Foster's props from 2020 still around, because I would be going for Ethan de Groot, Olly Norris and Tamworthy Williams as my loose head props, with Ofa Tu'ungafasi, Angus Ta'avao and Jermaine Angel as my number 3s, my tight head props. Guys, this is a bit of a controversy that I've just made over here, so make sure to tell me why you disagree with me if you do so over in the comments, or if you really enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't ever miss another video. Once again, a huge thank you to my patrons. If you're keen to just make a one-off donation, you can visit my tip jar. I'm producing articles like these on a fairly regular basis as well, so visit theblackjuicy.net to see my articles on who should be in the midfield for the All Blacks. I'm also present obviously on Twitter and Instagram, and thank you very much for watching this video, guys. God bless, have a good one, cheers.